What if the Egyptian pharaohs weren't just rulers, but actually engineers of consciousness? And what if their crowns and temples were designed to awaken a power inside of you, one that modern science today barely understands? The pineal gland is a dormant gateway that's inside of your body. Now, this is a small pine cone shaped structure deep within your brain, and for most people, it stays closed their entire life. But why does almost every single ancient culture reference a third eye? And why did Egyptian priests build entire systems to activate it? Modern science now shows that the pineal gland responds to light, produces melatonin, and is also sensitive to magnetic fields. But the Egyptians understood this on a much deeper level and went much further with this. They actually designed temples, rituals, and symbols to manually awaken this internal third eye. Now, of course, they didn't call it the pineal gland in those days, but they certainly understood its purpose, which is much more than we can say in our modern era. You've probably seen the Eye of Horus before, but did you know that this Eye of Horus perfectly overlays the human brain and also mirrors the pineal gland and also its surrounding structures within the brain? Now, let's pause here for a moment because this doesn't sound like art to me. This is clear anatomical knowledge turned into sacred geometry by the ancient Egyptians thousands of years ago. So, was the Eye of Horus merely a religious symbol, or perhaps a coded diagram for activating your own inner sight? The Egyptians built this wisdom into everything, into their temple walls, their funerary texts, and also sacred crowns. Now, to us, it might seem decorative, but to them, it was certainly instructional. You were never meant to worship any of these symbols. You were meant to use them and to understand them and to integrate them into your daily life. Now let's have a look at the cobra on the foreheads of pharaohs. This cobra isn't just some protective random totem that they used. That rising serpent represents an energy that's asleep at the base of your spine. And today we call this energy the Kundalini energy, although there are, of course, many different terminologies for this energy. The Egyptians placed it on the forehead because its destination of travel was always the pineal gland, your third eye. Now, when this energy rises, this Kundalini energy or the serpent energy, also called the fire energy, through breath, posture, and ritual, then it reaches the midbrain and actually activates clarity, intuition, and inner power. Now, this shows us that the Egyptians weren't just artistic or expressive with the symbology. They weren't guessing, and it certainly wasn't random. They were mapping something really real. But here's the main difference between us today and them. We are guessing. They were precise. They used systems such as geometry, starlight, mantras, and physical ritual to activate the system within themselves. But today, we detox fluoride or listen to a couple of frequencies, pretty much call it a day and hope for the best. Whenever we try to decipher these ancient systems, especially Egyptian, it always feels like there are more missing links than actual answers. And partially that is correct, because the original map has been buried under centuries of confusion, suppression, and of course, literal sand. Although the original map is encoded, this map was actually never lost. And once you understand their system, then you can begin to activate the same energy that they did thousands of years ago. Because you weren't meant to stay blocked, and you weren't meant to stay confused. And you certainly weren't meant to walk through life as a disorientated zombie with your inner sight shut down forever. So, what the Egyptians knew thousands of years ago about the third eye wasn't just theory, it was a functioning spiritual technology. And in this video today, we are going to unpack how it works and how you can start using it again. So you already know that the Eye of Horus maps onto the brain around the exact structures of your pineal gland, that symbol was just a doorway. The real power wasn't in the eye itself, it was in what the Egyptians did with this Eye of Horus. Because the Egyptians weren't just artists or builders as history wants us to believe today. They were neuro-mystics, and what they practiced wasn't religion, it was resurrection. They believed in a star within the head, a light that doesn't come from the sky itself, but from the pineal gland once awakened. And that's one very important key. The star within your head, the pineal gland, had to be awakened. It's not automatically awake. It doesn't just switch itself on one day because you wanted to. This required practice. So let's discuss some of the techniques and rituals that they used and also discuss how you can apply it today. Egyptian initiates were placed in pitch black chambers for days and sometimes for weeks at a time. Now, they never considered this to be a deprivation of sorts because it was a deliberate practice to them. Think of it as a neurological ignition switch. And through modern science, we now know that prolonged darkness actually stimulates the pineal gland to release melatonin and DMT-like chemicals. And the release then of these substances creates vivid inner visuals, dream states, and also deep brainwave activity. So darkness to them was not absence, it was gestation, and literally just like a womb, it is in the dark where the light is born. You can apply the same practice that they practiced thousands of years ago today. Create your own darkness practice. Use a sleep mask, no screens, and sit upright. Now, this upright position keeps your spine straight and actually aids in the flow of your energy. It's important to set a manageable goal at first. Perhaps start with 20 minutes at a time because it's important to let vision arise without forcing it. And when you do this consistently, increasing the duration of the darkness practice with time, then you'll notice the shift from thinking to seeing. And then, ironically, actually, from seeing to literally seeing through the illusion. Today we rise with alarms, but the Egyptians rose with the sun. Egyptian rituals followed the sun's phases, but the Egyptians didn't actually worship the sun. They merely understood it as a mirror of inner light, as a force that could awaken different layers of energy in the human system depending on its position within the sky. They believed that each solar phase activated a specific part of your energetic anatomy. Sunrise awakens your lower chakras, your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus centers. Now, these govern movement, vitality, and willpower, and this is when you charge your body with purpose. Solar noon, when the sun is directly overhead, pouring clarity into your system, energizes your heart and stimulates the pineal gland at the crown and brow centers. Now, this is the peak of mental illumination and emotional coherence. At sunset, the sun descends and energy draws inward. Now, this opens the doorway to the subconscious mind, to intuition, to dreams, and also to inner vision. This is when the veil between the seen and the unseen becomes thin. They didn't pray to the sun, they merely aligned with it using its rhythms like a tuning fork for the soul. Now, you can apply the same thing today. At sunrise, stand or sit facing east. Breathe into your belly, keep your spine long, your palms open, and focus on grounding your energy and becoming fully alive in the moment. At noon, do gentle alternate nostril breathing because this balances your nervous system and also stimulates clarity by activating both hemispheres of the brain. At this point, focus your awareness at the brow point, your third eye point, while breathing. At sunset, face west. Breathe long and slow and let your awareness turn inward. Allow the day's energy to retreat into your spine and enter a place of stillness and subtle perception. Today we all chase time, but the Egyptians tuned into time. We rush through the hours of the day, but they rode the rhythm of eternity. Even the well-known Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, as within, so without, literally shows us that the solar rhythms are actually our own internal rhythms. Today, most people are taught to meditate in silence, yet the Egyptians chanted until stone walls literally sang. They truly understood this. The Egyptians used resonant vowel tones to activate the pineal gland, literally turning their skulls into resonance chambers. Now, today, science can actually back this up because we know that sound travels through bone and fluid, and the pineal gland sits in a fluid-filled cavity perfectly positioned to be vibrated by frequency. The sound E literally stimulates cranial resonance and also lights up the brow center at your third eye. Now combine this with rhythmic breath and awareness at your third eye point, and the resonance literally becomes activation. And the best news is that we can all apply it today. All we need to do is to sit in silence, to inhale deeply, and on our exhale, chant E. Let the vibration travel through your forehead and your skull. You can also try other combinations, such as Ra, Ka, E, still chanting each part on a steady exhale while you are visualizing energy rising from the base of your spine to your third eye point. Now, here's the thing, you can't logic your way into the third eye. You have to tune into it like an instrument. Modern EEG studies show that sound can actually shift brainwaves faster than thought. Just look at Nada yoga, at chanting, at mantra. Literally every ancient culture knew that sound changes state. To us, sacred oils just smell nice, but to the Egyptians, they were actually soul alchemy. Oils like frankincense, blue lotus, and myrrh weren't just perfumes, but they were actually frequency keys. Frankincense oil boosts oxygen to the brain, and this awakens focus and clarity, whereas blue lotus contains a natural compound that induces calm euphoria and also enhances inner vision. Myrrh grounds the nervous system and is perfect for entering stillness and trance states. Now, these shifted neurochemistry and they primed the pineal gland. It is also very easy to apply today. Simply diffuse blue lotus during meditation or during third eye work. Anoint your forehead with sandalwood or with a myrrh blend. Inhale slowly and let the scent drop you inward, anchoring you in presence and also opening the gateway. Resurrection was never just a myth, and the rituals above weren't about death. They were about waking up from the lie of the world, the illusion. They believed that if you could activate your pineal gland, real vision would return, and you would no longer be ruled by fear, illusion, or external control. You were told that you have five senses, but the Egyptians knew there was a sixth sense. And if you could awaken it, then you'd no longer need permission to perceive reality. So if the Egyptians had a working system to awaken the pineal gland and achieve inner resurrection, then why don't we? Because in today's world, blindness is profitable, and those people who stand to profit from our blindness will do everything in their power to keep us in the dark, oblivious, and powerless, because our perception is power. Mystery schools, priesthoods, and secret societies didn't just randomly lose this knowledge, they protected it, but only for their initiates. So basically, they closed it off to whoever were not in their inner circles. They built a wall around it, they denied its existence, because once people begin to see clearly, then they stop obeying blindly. So ask yourself, how much of our world is built on blind obedience, on ignorance? Manly P. Hall wrote, "The third eye is the cyclopean eye of the ancients, for it was an organ of conscious vision long before the physical eyes were formed." Now, this confirms that the Egyptians and other ancient seers weren't speaking metaphorically. They literally saw with the inner eye. And over the centuries, there were various systems of suppression. Organized religion, they discredited third eye practices. Colonial empires, they outlawed native rights, and basically anything that gave you direct access to divine perception was marked as dangerous. But suppression didn't just end there, it merely changed clothes. Censorship today doesn't look like fire and chains. It looks like distraction, overwork, overstimulation, war. It looks like politics, and basically it looks like normal life. We are all being pulled constantly into the lower chakras, the lower planes, and this is a trap, not because they are bad, but because they are easier to control. Now, these are survival, fear, addiction, comparison, and stimulation. And when energy stays locked down there at the lower planes, then it can't rise. Now, this literally means that your pineal gland can't activate. Your system becomes reactive and not reflective, and you stay trapped in the material loop. Now, this is energetic reality, and your attention is currency, and lower vibrations are merely easier to monetize than higher ones. Now, here's what most people still don't know, and that is that your pineal gland is literally under attack all the time. Fluoride is one of the only substances shown to calcify the pineal gland, literally crystallizing around it like a shell. And yet, it is still in our water, it is still in our toothpaste, it is still approved. Well, approved by whom? I'm sure you can answer that one for yourself. So if you feel tired, foggy, and disconnected, then it's not because you are lazy or broken, it's because your environment was engineered to suppress your perception. And this is very easy to do through fast dopamine loops, through filtered realities, artificial stress, internalized comparison, chemical numbing. And the ultimate irony here is that we are all being told to just meditate more in a system that literally won't let us sit still. And here's the ultimate kicker: the pineal gland doesn't just shut down on its own, it shuts down when it is unused, abused for too long. It shrinks in silence and it literally calcifies in chaos. So if this lit something up in you, then please make sure that you are subscribed with your notifications turned on, and also share this with somebody who's ready to hear the truth. I post content that breaks down ancient systems and makes them real and practically accessible for everyone in our modern age. And if you want to go even deeper, then you can always join me on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.